how excited are we? Wednesday of this week, we started fall camp in the Big Ten. It's a long time coming, and now it feels real, right?
It does indeed, yeah. So we just finished our second camp stop. I'm, in fact, sitting here parked at Northwestern staring at the waves coming in off Lake Michigan. It's really a gorgeous day.
Yeah.
We were at Nebraska yesterday. We're heading down to Champaign tomorrow.
I love it.
So we're off and running, man. It's hard to believe, but yeah, we're watching some actual live football.
I love those camp stops that you guys do because you go so in depth into, at the beginning of camp is almost like after the draft of the NFL. There's hope in a lot of places where you say, okay, if we can just get this right, if we can just, we're in year 3 of this coordinator and we can get this right, there is hope. And I do think there's hope in Northwestern. I mean, Pat Fitzgerald in the every other year plan, I always feel like isn't it like the way the ball bounces with him? It's like you're either 10-3 or 3-10, but because you got some bad breaks and because you got some good breaks, but no one can deny that he's an amazing coach.
The last 4 years have been weird. What's strange is that they had really avoided the 3-win seasons. I mean, for them, a bad year had turned into, 5 or 6 wins, which, some people went for 4 years here and didn't see 6 wins back in the day. So,
right.
Combined. So, total in the 4 years. So, yeah, I mean, it's been a little weird that 2 of the last 4 years they've won the West, and 2 of the last 4 years they finished in last in the West.
Yeah.
This one will be, I don't see them doing either this year. I could be wrong. This felt like a little more middle-of-the-road team when we saw them today. Quarterback play has been an issue in the down years. I think they're a little better there this year. And then they had a change in defensive coordinator last year. They had a guy who was here forever, and Mike Hankwitz, who was fabulous.
Amazing.
They hit a real bump in the road last year with Jim O'Neill. So we'll see whether or not he can get this group back and humming again.
I mean, Northwestern and Fitzgerald he's the type of guy to get the most out of, like, 3-star prospects, right? But they actually have a pretty good recruiting class coming in the future for 2023, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
Yeah, they do. They were, for a while, they signed they got commitments from a lot of their class. No one's actually physically signed them yet.
Right.
Pretty early. So I think there was a period like in June where they were like 3rd in the country.
Yeah.
That's dropped off. Dropped off a little bit.
Slow your roll.
Yeah, it's still a pretty good class. As other people have signed more players, they've fallen back a little bit. But yeah, they have a surefire first-round pick on this team. Peter Skoronski, the left tackle, is he is fun to watch. He's really fabulous. So there's some decent talent. But you're right. I mean, I think really what Fitz has done so well through the years is it's been one of the better developmental programs in the country, along with a few others in our league. Like Iowa's really good.
Absolutely.
At developing players.
Yep.
Wisconsin's really good.
Amazing.
Taking 3 stars and churning out good teams. So there are a number of programs that do it, and this, where I am today, has been one of them for sure.
I mean, Wisconsin is so good at identifying talent that Michigan got a guy who's coming in as a freshman, Jimmy Rolder from the Chicago area, and he was identified a baseball kid for years and years, and then for most of his recruitment. So he really wasn't even on the radar. But then his recruitment started picking up at the end, and Wisconsin identified him as a linebacker. And you look at the linebackers, Leo Schnell, and I mean, you're just looking at the linebackers that they have produced in the last period of time, and you'll take a guy because Wisconsin evaled them as a guy that they want, right? It's now to that point.
I 100% think that. Like, I really think that is when Wisconsin offers a kid, as the rest of the Big Ten, if it's an under-the-radar kid. And again, I'd say the same thing. Like, I think that's the case with Iowa. I mean, they've turned 3-star guys into All-Americans routinely. So, hey, what do they see in this guy that maybe we don't? I mean, I do think that's a really good way. Certainly, if Wisconsin offers a running back, you should be aware of it.
Or an offensive lineman.
Yeah, or an offensive lineman in state, particularly. Yes, they tend to find some road graders.
Yep, some dairy farmers.
I think that'd be a pretty good way to go about it.
All right, so you're heading down to Nebraska in a little bit.
We were there Nebraska yesterday.
Are you there yesterday? What's the what's the pressure cooker situation? I mean, where are they with Scott Frost? Are they like, you got to win right now, or are they like, we don't care? We were Nebraska football, and now we don't know what we are anymore. Talk about a snake-bitten guy. I mean, that guy has put his team in position to win a lot of time. I felt like their team could have been 8-4 last year if a couple of breaks go their way.
They lost 9 games, and all of them were by single-digit margins. The first time that's happened in the history of college football, Randy. And
that's
college
crazy.
Football's been going on for a long time, as you are well aware. So there aren't a lot of seasons where no one's ever done that before.
Right.
No one had ever lost 9 games by a single-digit margin until Nebraska did it last year. And unfortunately, the 9 losses tied a school record, which was set well over a half a century ago. It's not the kind of school record you want to tie. So, they got their work cut out for him. I do not think they are. I mean, he has to win this year. Now, what does that look like?
Right.
Does it look like making a bowl game? I think it depends how they win and how they lose, right? Like, I think you could have a 7-5 season that ends in an okay bowl game, and then the 5 losses you were really competitive, and I think you could say, all right, well, that's progress.
He's turning around,
and I think the flip side could be true, though, too. If you play Oklahoma and they beat you by 40 points, people went. So I again, and that didn't happen. Again, no one beat them by 40 points last year. I'd be astonished if someone did this year. But it's going to be an interesting team. They certainly look better when we saw them yesterday. I thought they had a good practice. He made a good offensive coordinator hire in Mark Whipple, who's a veteran guy. They were over 41 points a game at Pitt last year. So we'll see. But no, it's no one is happy with 15-29, and that's his record at Nebraska.